All right, as we look at lesson 9, we're talking about sums and differences. So sums, remember, is addition problems, and differences would be subtraction problems of decimals. And the key here is decimals. Remember, if you're using the calculator that I have in class, remember that F and then the two sideways triangles or arrows and the D. F stands for fraction, D stands for decimal. And that's written in blue up above the button that says PRB. So in order to reach this thing up in blue, up above it, you're going to need to hit the second button in the top left corner that's blue first to access that function. And it is a nice function to have on our calculators. They're powerful calculators for that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all of these and we're going to turn these mixed number fractions into decimal numbers. So a whole number and then a decimal. So a mixed number with decimals essentially instead of fractions, right? So we've got 25 and then we've got a decimal, and then we have to figure out what 3/10 is. What 3/10 is the converting it the longhand way is saying 3 divided by 10, not 10 divided by 3. 10 does not go into 3 evenly, right? It's a 0. So then we put a decimal point there, and then we start adding zeros. 10 goes into 30 3 times, and 3 times 10 is 30, and there's no additional remainder. So the decimal is 0.3. So 25.3 would be a 25 and 3/10. And then 376 wholes, and then the decimal. And what this one is saying is 77 divided by 100. 100 cannot go into 77, so that's where we get a 0, right? It's not even 1. Then we add a 0 after that. 100 goes into 770 7 times. 7 times 100 is 700. I have 70 left over. I still have a remainder, so I'm going to bring down another 0. 100 goes into 700 7 times. And 7 times 100 is 700. I have no remainder left over now, so that's where I'm done. And this decimal point here gets added on down here, so 77. And now I can take calculator, or I can line it up longhand and do 25.3 plus 376.77 and come up with a total answer of 402.07 as my answer. Same thing is true in this case. The second example, we're just subtracting. So this becomes 426 wholes and 1/5 as a decimal. Well, it means 1 divided by 5. 5 goes into that 0 times. So put our decimal point. 5 goes into 10 2 times though. And when we subtract it, there's nothing left over, so it should be 0.2 minus 275. We know 1/2 is 0.5, but I just want to prove the point here, right? 1/2 literally means 1 divided by 2. 2 does not go into 1, that's a 0. 2 goes into 10 5 times, and that's where this 0.5 comes from, this 0.5. So same exact principles and ideas behind it. I know we know a couple of those sort of by heart, right? 1/2 is 0.5. So 426.2 minus 275.5 gives us an answer of 150.7. So we're going to continue to do those kinds of things, taking our mixed numbers and turning them into a decimal, right? Whole number and a decimal point. So it says her friends are going on a road trip. It's 245 and 7/50 miles long. They've already driven 128 and 53 100ths. How much farther do they have to drive? So the cool thing is anytime you have it out of like 100, right, that just means you take whatever this number is and you put it in front of, like, after the decimal point. So 0 point and then 53, because 53 out of 100 is 53 hundredths, like that. 7 out of 50, well, if you notice, we can multiply both the top and the bottoms by 2, right? 2 over 2. 50 times 2 would be 100, and 7 times 2 would be 14. And then we have that same principle where we have it out of 100. So now it would be a 0.14. And then we would have 245.14 minus 128.53. And that would give us our remaining distance in the road trip that they're going on, which 245 0.14 minus 128.53 is 116.61 miles. That's how many miles they have to go still. Ben needs to replace two sides on his fence. One side is this meters long, the other side is this meters long. How much fence you need to buy? So it's those two added together. So we're going to have 367.09, not 0.9. Remember, it would be 9 out of 100. If there's only a single digit, assume there's a 0 in front of it, right? It's a two-digit system, 1, 2. So 9 here, 0, 9, right? And then this one we notice is out of 10. When it's out of 10, that's just whatever this next digit is. So that'd be a 0.3. So this plus 329.3. And when we add 367.09 plus 329.3, we get 696.39, and it's meters. That's how much fence or lumber he needs to buy. Mike wants to paint his new office 2 different colors. If he needs this many gallons of red paint and this many gallons of brown paint, how much does he need in total? We need to add these two together. So 4/5, remember, if 1/5 is 0.2, right? 2/5 would be double that, or 0.4. So that means 4/5 would be double that, or 0.8. But again, you could always do 4 divided by 5. Doesn't go into it. 5 goes into 48 times. And that's our 0.8 right there. So we'd have 4.8 plus 3. Remember, if it's out of tenths, if it's in a 10 spot out of tenths, then you just take whatever that top number is and put it right after the decimal, so 3.1. And 4.8 plus 3.1 is 7.9 gallons of paint. That's total gallons, right? That's what he was asking, with total gallons, how much paint. After Ariana completed some work, she figured she still had this many pictures to paint. If she completed another this many pictures, how much does she still have left? So again, remember, if it's out of 100, we just put that in our 2 decimal place after the decimal. So 78.21 minus 34 wholes. And then remember that trick I said, right? So if we multiply this by 4, we'd get to 100. So we'd have to multiply the top by 4 to get to 23 times 4 is 92. So 0.92. And then when we do the math on this, 78.21 minus 34.92 is, she still has 43.29 pictures left to paint. This says use a calculator to convert the fraction of the decimals before calculating the sum or difference. So we'll go ahead and do this longhand first, and then remember it's that second and then the PRB button, because above it is the fraction to decimal on our calculator. So 78 1/3 would be 78 wholes, and then 1/3, right, means 1 divided by 3 doesn't go into it. 3 goes into 10 3 times, that's 9. There's a 1 remainder. 10, that's 3, that's 9. And you'll notice it becomes the same pattern over and over again, and that's why it repeats. So 0.33, right? So we're going to use 2 decimals in this case, or excuse me, 3 decimals in this case. So we're going to use 0.33, or 0.333, okay? And then if he used that much and his wife used this much, well, that would be 41, and then 3/8 means 3 divided by 8. And so 8 goes into 3 0 times here, as expected. 8 goes into 30 3 times. 3 times 8 is 24. That's a 6. 8 goes into that, into 60 7 times. 7 times 8 is 56. Come on, you. There we go. And 60 minus 56 is 4. 8 goes into 40 5 times. And 5 times 8 is 40, and there's no remainder. So now we have that 0.375. 0.375. All right, and now we're going to compare these two, and it looks like it's saying how much total gas, so we would add them. So let's throw that addition symbol there. And when we add 78.333, and again, it is repeating, right, plus 41.375 as a decimal answer, we would get 119.708 gallons of gas. And remember, in my class, I want 3 decimals. It says round to the nearest hundredth. Hundredth would be 2 decimal places. So in this case, rounding to that, it would be 0.7. And then this is the second number, so we would look at that. 8 is 5 or higher, so that would be 71 gallons of gas that they used in total last month. And we are on to problem set.